Terrific. Looks like we have everything going now. Thank you all so much for coming today. This is the official webinar release of our 2024 Performance Marketing US Brand Survey results. I don't know, the words go in some kind of order like that, but that's what they are if we put them all together. So what we are doing today is we have some of the members of the PMA's Measurements and Insights Council who will be introducing themselves in just a second. We're going to be showing you what we think are some of the highlights and some of the key takeaways from this paper. And then all of you who are watching today, you are the lucky ones because we're going to give you the link before anybody else to get out there and download that report and see the full report. I think we have maybe like 10-ish charts or something like that to show you. And we have almost double that in the full report, plus a lot of other analytics that go along with it. So before I have everybody here, this is kind of new. We don't usually do presentations on our webinars, but we're going to be doing that today so that we can show you the very cool charts and graphs that we came up with. All right. Look like we're sharing. As I'm going to have everybody start introducing themselves, I'm going to ask those of you who are watching us on LinkedIn Live if you could introduce yourselves as well. So let us know your name, your company, and why you're on this webinar. So kind of what part of the industry are you coming from? Are you one of the retailers that participated maybe? Are you an agency looking for results, publisher that's interested, other, whatever you are. So as we're introducing ourselves, if you could please introduce yourselves as well, that will give us a little bit of an idea of maybe how we want to tailor some of the things we're talking about. Also, if you do have any questions throughout this, a lot of them will probably be answered for you in the full report, but if there are specific things that you would like to ask of the people that actually did all of this and wrote the report, feel free to put those into the LinkedIn as well, and I'll bring them over to the group so that they can answer. All right, so let's get started. We actually have a real agenda for you today. Kind of very basic, but just want to let you have a little bit of a knowledge of what we're going to be talking about so you know where things are going. We will start with the introductions. While you all are introducing yourselves, we'll introduce ourselves. I am Tricia Meyer. I'm the Executive Director of the Performance Marketing Association. I've also been a publisher in the industry for a little over 20 years. So I personally was really excited to see what the results were of this survey vis-a-vis publishers. Jenna.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna Walsh, and I lead the data requirements team at Awin. I've been with Awin for 6 years, and prior to this data role, I was in client services at Pepperjam for 10 years. I'm passionate about the affiliate marketing industry, and I love data, and have been the chair of the Measurements and Insights Council since 2022. I live in the beautiful state of Pennsylvania with my husband, 3 boys, and 2 cats. On to Michael.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Cole. I'm the SVP of Marketing at Everflow. And I'm just really excited to talk to this survey. And my original background was on the affiliate management agency days long ago. So it's fun to like go back and see like the programs that were from like 2008 to 2013 was when I was launching programs. So it's fun to see how many of those are still here and still growing.
Cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Renee Christensen. I'm the Senior Director of Data and Analytics Strategy at Acceleration Partners. I've been with AP for almost 11 years in a variety of different roles. I am based in Washington State and have been in the affiliate marketing industry for a little over 20 years as well. So really excited to share out some of the findings that we have from the survey with you today.
I am DeGrange, the CEO of Round Barn Labs. I've been in performance marketing for about 20 years and affiliate space for about that time as well. I'm the CEO of RBL, and we're very focused deeply on the technology vertical with our clients. And it's been a just pleasure to work with the PMA, Tricia, and this great panel here. A lot of work has gone into the survey data and the getting it right and presenting it right. And so it's just grateful to be a part of the conversation to keep educating the great tight-knit affiliate community that we're all in. So welcome the questions and excited for the conversation.
Thanks, Ty, and especially thank you, Ty, and Brown Barn Labs for sponsoring our webinar today. Webinars like these, we do free on LinkedIn for the entire industry, but they do take time, they take money, they take technology to be able to run them. So we're thankful when we have sponsors like Brown Barn Labs that volunteer so quickly to come in and sponsor these things for us. All right.
You bet.
Here we go. So first of all, just a little bit of background in terms of how we got to this and some of the methodology behind it. Those of you out there like me who are kind of the data nerds that want to know where did this come from and what does it all mean from the top. The PMA Measurements and Insights Council, which is the council that is run by Jenna and that everybody on this call and a lot of others are a part of. We're a council that meets once a month and it's all volunteers. Everyone on here just volunteers their time with us. They have been conducting this. I think we started early this year, almost at the beginning of this year with this idea. And it kind of came out of the PMA has done a couple of really big industry surveys over the last 7 years. And those big industry surveys are where we've been sizing all of affiliate marketing in the United States. And those surveys, they take a lot of time, they take a lot of money and cooperation because we're getting data directly from the networks. So we don't do those surveys quite as often because of everything that is tailed in those. So what we decided we wanted to do was to try to do something a little bit smaller where we could still get a lot of really interesting insights and data, but be able to just collect it ourselves. So all of this information that came in, this started, we started putting this together in March, April, coming up with all the different questions. And we wanted the focus to sort of be on affiliate management of the programs. So we don't have the exact same data that we have from those previous industry surveys, but what we tried to do was keep things consistent. So any of the different categories that you see, the reason that we use them for this survey is because they're the same categories that we use in those bigger industry surveys. So we can look and see if we see consistencies or have some comparisons there. So the different publisher types is one area where we have those consistencies. And then also in all of the sectors and subsectors of retail, all of that breakdown is the same as what you'll see in those bigger industry surveys. And our hope is that we will be able to get enough sponsorships and funding to be able to do that much larger survey again, starting in January. So this data, we collected this data from the beginning of June through the end of August this year, and we asked companies to give us 12 months of data. So this isn't necessarily 2023 data. That's not necessarily 2024 data. It's the 12 months previous to when they filled out the survey. This was also all self-reported by the companies into this survey where only I was able to see all of the results. And then I collected all the results and kind of combined things down without any identifying information in order for the council to be able to start to look for patterns and decide what they wanted to be in this report. We did have over 300 responses. And what was really interesting about that was that 94% of those responses did give us some kind of identifying email address. So even though these were allowed to be anonymous and they were self-reported, we did have 94% that gave us their email address so that we could follow up with them if we wanted to. And as part of the survey, we decided we would have some required questions. Some of that was just to make sure that the data was legitimate, but some just because we wanted a little bit of base information from each of the respondents. And then we also had optional questions, things that we really wanted to get more information on, but we didn't want there to be so many questions in the survey that it prohibited people from wanting to participate in it. So looking kind of what we've got out there right now coming in on LinkedIn, it looks like we've got a really great mix. We've got publishers, agencies, networks. So kind of we're running the whole gamut of the industry on LinkedIn. So that is great to see. I am going to now turn this over to all of the people that wrote the report with me and allow them to kind of go through some of the different charts that we pulled out that we just thought were the most interesting that we wanted to talk a little bit about and that you might have questions about.
All right, I'll kick things off here. So for the participants and the responses that we got back, I don't think shocking, but a nice representation, right? A dominant response rate from the agency vertical, which is great because obviously they are going to illustrate a portfolio of clients and learnings that that really do impact and inform this survey. So about 77% of our respondents were from the agency world. And then about 17% were from the brand world. We had a small number of about 4.5% that were categorized as other, but a good representation from brand and agencies, certainly, with agencies really dominating the participants and the responses what we received. And then in terms of business sector, retail really dominated with over 71% in the responses. We do have an other bucket here. Obviously, we'd like to have more insights onto that, but we do have a good representation across verticals, with entertainment and media represented at 2%, travel at 2%, telecom at 1.5%, financial institutions coming in at about 4.5%, which is nice, and then healthcare, pharma just over 1%. So a pretty good spectrum of retail and other verticals represented by the responses.
And one of the interesting things that I found with this as I was pulling these numbers and we include in the report is that this does sort of match up with what we saw in the actual data, the number data that came through for those industry surveys, where I think retail was like around 76% of total dollar amounts. So obviously it's a little bit apples to oranges, but it still kind of gave me faith in these numbers, knowing that we were in the same ballpark in terms of total number of respondents of where we are financially when those numbers are reported directly from the networks. How about some results? Renee.
Perfect, thank you. So let's see here. With the survey targeting US brand affiliate programs, we wanted to understand if there were any key learnings or trends for those programs and how they operate outside of the US. So we asked the question, to which regions do you ship products outside of North America? And we found that just over a quarter of respondents ship products outside of the US. As you can see in the chart, the vast majority of brands ship to at least one country. In EMEA, 24% of the respondents do, followed by APAC at 18% and Latin America at 14%. Next slide. So taking the regional insights a step further, we asked the question, which regions do you accept publishers in? Our goal with this question was really to understand the global opportunity for publishers to be able to promote US-based affiliate programs. And looking at the data, we found that 38% of total respondents accept publishers outside of the US. And when we compare the ship to region to the publisher acceptance region, we found that as a whole, publisher acceptance was 12 percentage points higher than the ship to region. So that's probably a number we would anticipate being higher, as many publishers have a global presence, and this question just helped validate that assumption. And then looking at the regional data, we can also make the assumption that the affiliate marketing industry really just continues to mature in all region and is a key pillar of growth for many brands based in the US. So you already got it. Cool, thank you. Cool, then we'll move on to some learnings from our network and platform question for the US-based affiliate programs. We asked the question, which platforms do you use? And we found that of the respondents, they flagged that they use at least 12 different platform providers. I'll list them out in alphabetical order just to give a little bit of love here. So we have Awin, Commission Junction, Everflow, Impact, Link Connector, Partnerize, PartnerStack, Rakuten Advertising, Reversion, ShareASale, and Tune. So just seeing that range of platform providers used by the respondents also just showcases how diverse the affiliate landscape is. And there's obviously a platform out there for every brand that is really looking to grow in the affiliate marketing channel. But one thing that we also wanted to look at was how many programs operated on one platform versus multiple platforms. And as you can see, 91% of the respondents said that they only use one platform provider, whereas the other 9% use more than one. I know that, over the years, many of the providers have expanded their coverage globally, which is why we, I think, see such a large number there. Whereas in the past, I believe the number may have been spread a little bit more. But one interesting metric that we did find when we couple the platform usage with the regional data is that 27% of the brands who accept publishers from outside of the US also operate on multiple platforms. So that's 3 times higher than brands who only accept publishers in the US, which is a pretty big difference there. So that wraps up my slides. I guess I'll pass it over to Michael.
Hello, everyone. So to kick it off from my side, talking about when programs launched. So the first thing that's interesting here is there's actually like a really nice spread, like 16% of programs were from before 2010, which shows that like there is ongoing and evergreen value in affiliate, and that as we'll see later, like these programs are actually like doing the best. So there's a lot of value and you can keep growing program year after year after year. Then the next bucket that's really nice to see is 47% were from 2011 to 2019, which is I feel like when affiliate marketing got very like juicy, is all of the like major content publishers started using affiliate as a channel. So the fact that a lot of programs came in at that time is like a great sign that that really started to expand out to like the larger like retail world. And then 37% after 2020 is awesome because it just shows that programs just continue to pop up. Some of them really thrive and succeed, and it's a very healthy, like there hasn't been like a drop off as we've gone along. Next slide. Cool. So this one's super interesting, which is the amount of approved publishers in these programs. So first off, you'll see on the right side that 40% of programs have over 500 publishers. So the the largest group of programs, like they're really going for like reaching out scale. And we'll be revisiting that and some of the later stuff of like what impact that has. The other one that's interesting to highlight is that the next biggest bucket is 51 to 100, which is that there's like 2 strategies for affiliate programs. One is you go get as many different types of publishers as possible, or you focus on just like getting the right publishers for your program. And that usually ends up being about that 50 to 100 set. Next slide. So again, like just as we were looking at how many publishers, this is really interesting to look at. So the 51 to 100, like that is the largest bucket of like affiliates and publishers actually delivering sales in the last 12 months. So 30% of programs had 51 to 100. So the programs that are just focusing on that top set of affiliates, like they seem to be pretty succeeding. But what's also really interesting is if you actually go bigger, from 101 to 501 plus, that actually makes up 25% of programs. So there is a lot of partners that can potentially promote your program and really build up that diversity of publisher base. So it's really exciting that there is massive scale. And then the final thing that the team noted while they were reviewing the stats that I thought was really interesting is that for the ones with 501 plus publishers, every single one of those programs is being managed by an agency, which is not surprising because at that scale, you really need extra resources to make it successful. Next slide. All right, so now we can sort of see the breakdown of total amount of publishers in the program, how many are click active and how many are sell active. So the first thing you'll notice is that the older programs from before 2010, like they have way more publishers in their program at like almost 55%. They have a lot more publishers sending clicks and a lot more publishers being sales active. So the longer your program, the more you have opportunities to reach more publishers and affiliates, the more you start getting traffic from them, and the more you start seeing sales with them. So it really shows that there is like a value to continuing to develop the program into maturity and that you can continue to build new opportunities on top. The other thing that I think is really fascinating here is that there's not that much difference between clicks and sales. So when you look at before 2010, like basically there's only like twice as many affiliates sending clicks as there is affiliates sending sales, which is actually like it's much easier to send a couple clicks in 12 months than it is to send a sell. But it just shows that like affiliate really like if you want affiliates to send you traffic and to promote your program, they need to see success. They need to see commissions. And if they're not seeing commissions, they drop off really quickly. So if we look at like 2011, 2019, like the amount of publishers sending clicks, it's like 19%. And then the ones that are doing like actual sales are more like 5%. But like before 2010, like again, like they don't keep promoting you ongoing unless they start seeing success. So really your job as an affiliate manager is really to see like, how do I get that first dollar to the affiliate? Because once I see that, I can continue to add that affiliate, add another one, and keep growing my program. So I think that's all very insightful towards how you make a program successful. Next slide.
So as Tricia mentioned earlier in the survey, we did not ask respondents to send us revenue and spend values per publisher type. We asked rather, which publisher type was your highest contributor in the last 12 months? So in the last industry survey, we revealed that cashback, loyalty, coupon, voucher publishers accounted for 51% of total spending, with content publishers at 15. With this survey, we saw a consistent result where over 76% of respondents allocate the most budget to these three publisher types. Over the years, there's not been any drastic shift in spend allocation, and traditional publishers are still very much dominant, regardless of sector. There is, however, an interesting gap where you compare revenue and spend percentages in this survey. 10.9% identified content as their top revenue source, where 19.2% reported it as their largest spending area. So this indicates to us that advertisers are investing much more in content, which, while not the highest revenue generator, are still generating enough value to really warrant the increased spending. So here we can conclude that brands are leveraging the affiliate channel to really balance both top and bottom funnel strategies, while also assuming that those flat fee costs associated with content are also attributing to this end result. Perhaps with more spend comes more attributed revenue for content creators in the near future. As a recent study done by eMarketer stated that content creator revenues have increased about 17% this year over 2023.
All right. The next two questions actually came out of things that the PMA has been doing over the last couple of years. So I'm going to just brag a little bit on the PMA right now and some of the things that we've done vis-a-vis these questions. So this downloadable software publisher, the reason that we asked this question is because it comes to the PMA a lot in terms of whether this is something that should be allowed in programs, whether this is something that's good for the industry. So we've spent the last 2 years doing a lot of work. We've kind of lumped them together in our information on the PMA website as downloadable software publishers. But this includes the things you might call toolbars, browser extensions, things like that, which have kind of been cyclical in affiliate marketing. In the beginning, we had them, then the industry kind of pushed back on them as not being very valuable. Then the publishers started finding ways to make them more valuable, both to the consumers and the retailers. And so we've seen quite a resurgence in them in the last couple of years. But we still get a lot of questions in the PMA, like, why don't we make a policy against them? Well, we don't make a policy against them because, ta-da, looking at the slide, most retailers like working with them. We already know consumers like them. We know consumers like them because we all have friends. We ourselves have them downloaded. It's how we get coupons. It's how we get cash back, all those kinds of things. But when you look at this, you can see 88% of the retailers report that they're working with these different types of publishers as well. Now, obviously, this doesn't account for, are they working with just one or two big cashback ones? Are they working with other types? Are they working with things that aren't even related to cashback and coupons or even deals? There are a lot of other types of extensions and toolbars out there. But I think this does give us a pretty good idea that at least as the PMA, we're on the right track. And that is not to say whether these types of publishers are good or bad. They bring different values. So what we've tried to focus on and what's linked to within the survey results paper that you'll be able to download are some of the resources we've put together over this last year. So we're trying to be kind of educational to say, yes, we understand 88% of you retailers are currently working with them. 12% of you are not, but of the 12%, you might be curious about it, especially when you see this result and how many others are. So what are the best practices? What are the things that you should be thinking about when you're working with these different publisher types? So from an educational standpoint, we of the PMA, we look at this number and say, yes, we are on the right track because this is something that's obviously very valuable to our industry as a whole. It's something that retailers are very interested in. So we want to do whatever we can help the retailers to be able to understand how to work with these different types of publishers. And then similarly, we've taken on kind of the same approach with subnetworks over this last year. And we've had a webinar, we've put together a white paper, we've done some different things. This was far and away the question that we asked on the survey that had the results that came out the highest. And that was, do you allow subnetworks in your program? 96% said yes. So we're looking at this. This is basically almost every program is working with subnetworks of some kind. My hope now, looking at this number, is that in the future, this is something we may break down further, because there are a lot of different types of subnetworks, and there may be differences with whether retailers are working only with influencer subnetworks versus other types. And so I think diving deeper into this data in the future will be something that the PMA wants to do. But at least for now, we do have a webinar recording. We do have a white paper of best practices that will kind of explain what are the different types of subnetworks, what are the advantages of working with them, what are some of the considerations to take into account if you are working with them to make sure that you're getting the best results that you can. So again, those resources are all linked to within the paper. But it was nice to see that, again, we're kind of in the right place when we're talking about subnetworks as a whole in our industry and how much the retailers do value them as a part of their programs. I'm going to let Jenna take it because this is her council and she did the heavy lifting on all of this to maybe kind of pull some of this all back in together for us.
Thanks, Tricia. So just wanted to summarize our results. Here are 6 key takeaways that we wanted to highlight. The first is the vast majority of brands operate affiliate programs on single networks or platforms. The second is the majority of affiliate programs have 100 sale active publishers or less in the last 12 months, with almost half responding 50 or less. Third, mature programs have not only more affiliates, but more click and sale active affiliates. Fifth, cashback and coupon publisher types continue to dominate spend. And the last key takeaway, almost all brands work with subnetworks as well as toolbars, extensions, and downloadable software. And I'm going to kick it back to Tricia to close us out.
Right. I want to thank everyone who put so much time into this. Again, we had people that started. Christina, who's not on the call today, but hopefully she's watching us. Christina from Acceleration Partners, she helped develop the survey, all of the work that was put in from the council as a whole, coming up with all different questions and spending months trying to figure out how many questions can we ask and how many questions will people actually answer, and then how do we ask them. And Christina pulled it all together into a survey, and then also a form that agencies were able to download, fill out, and upload so that agencies didn't have to fill out that form for every single client that they have. So Christina did a lot of that front end work for us. And then along with myself, Jenna, Michael, and Renee, we wrote the paper. So pulling out all of the kind of top level information and kind of summarizing all of that and being able to pull all of that together for you today. And I also want to thank our industry champions because they are the ones that paid for everything for this one. Although it was not as big as our big industry survey, it still does take money to have things designed and the technology and things like that. So these industry champions who continue to support us year after year, I want to make sure that I give a shout out to them for their continued support. And then lastly, as soon as I give you all this link, you're all going to log off the LinkedIn and go download it and start ignoring us. So I'm waiting till the very end before I give it to you. The full survey is now available. We are available here if you have any questions that you would like us to answer, but the link is right there at the pma.org/2024-brand-survey. We will be posting this also on our blog and have an email going out if you're on our newsletter and just want to wait for that to come out. In the next hour, the blog post will be going out, the newsletter will be going out. So everybody will be able to download that. And obviously, you can always continue to post questions here on the LinkedIn or reach out to me. There's my email address. If you post things on the LinkedIn, all of the participants today will also be there so that they can go and take a look at the things that you've posted and interact with you on those. I'm going to unship for just a minute so we can see everybody's lovely faces again before we go. No questions have come in. We've had some comments and lots of people introducing themselves, but I can already see like the tick of people down as soon as I put that link up there, which was to be expected. I don't blame them. I was excited to download it when it came out too. So Thank you all so much for all of the work that all of you did. Thank you to Ty for having Round Barn Labs sponsor our webinar today. Hopefully everyone will give us some feedback on this, the types of things that you found most useful in this report, things that you'd like us maybe to dive deeper on next time. If this is a report that everyone is finding useful now that we've already put in all this upfront work, it'll be a lot easier if it's the kind of thing that we do decide we want to do annually and maybe just break things down a little bit more. So with that, we'll let everybody go and download that report and get to reading. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.